Hey guys, welcome to Real Talk Weekly with Josh.
And Vedan.
And tonight we'll be talking about a big one, guys. Budget bombshell, the end of negative gearing.
Yeah.
And a lot more to unpack. Big news coming. Stay tuned. Hey guys, big news coming tomorrow. We've got the big budget, and Vedan and I are here tonight to unpack as much as possible, try and give some early hints, and prepare because there's some big changes coming, isn't there, Vedan?
Very much, and we're already seeing it on the market.
We are. You've had vendors bring it up, have had buyers bring it up.
Exactly.
It is out there, and people are waiting to see what happens.
Exactly.
Obviously, the big one and probably the most talked about it at the moment, it looks immediate, is negative gearing.
Yes, very much.
Vedan, you want to start us off in a bit of about negative gearing?
For sure. With negative gearing, I think every investor is kind of questioning themselves now. But we have to also note that this is not fixed. Until tomorrow, we won't know what's going to happen. And the only thing that we noticed and maybe kind of leaked to us was negative gearing moving forward. So anything in the past that you own, it's all good. And moving forward, only on the new properties that you buy, you can do negative gearing. So is what we are hearing on the market. And for every Joe out there who doesn't work in real estate, who are not in finance and all that does your normal day-to-day job, they wouldn't know what all this is going around. They will hear negative gearing, they think it's a negative thing. Right? They don't know how much they need it. Right? So there's lots of things on the market, and the only thing they can truly trust and see is on social media and the news they see when they're on their couch. And they will say anything to get their views. So you have to have a trusted sources. And with negative gearing, there's lots of people depending on it. Do you want to explain in simple terms what negative gearing is first?
Yeah, guys. So we all know if you own property in Sydney and you, for example, you buy an investment. We all know that rents these days don't cover your outgoings, your expenses, whether it be the mortgage, your strata rates, your outgoings on the property. So what investors are given is an opportunity at the end of every tax year is to claim those losses depending on what bracket they fall in or what tax they pay on their PAYG. So that's an incentive for investors to bring supply to the rental market and a reason for them to take on a property where they're not living in it and they're having to chip in on a week-to-week basis. And the change here is going to be massive. So obviously each year you could tap into that loss, which obviously helps with things like serviceability, day-to-day expenses. It's quite big. And the change that they're proposing, or what I'm hearing, is these losses will only be realized once the property is positively geared, meaning that the rent covers your expenses that you claim at the end of the year against the property. And generally, with the way interest rates are at the moment and the median house prices in Sydney, I think you're going to be looking at maybe an aggressive individual might get it down to 5 years, but I think as an average, we're probably going to see at least 7 to 10 years before you're even going to get close to that parity or positively geared. And obviously, you're never going to be able to realize those losses until you're in that position. So massive changes. Severely affects the everyday investor, and things like serviceability. So what this does, guys, is obviously your taxable income is going to be affected here because you're paying tax as usual. You're not be able to claim those losses. And what will happen is we're actually going to see, based on the numbers, anywhere from a 10 to 20% reduction from your investor serviceability.
That's
huge.
That's too much.
So you're taking a big chunk of the market in Sydney, or the buyers out. You're taking away pretty much the dollars in their pocket that that used to be able to afford, which they can't anymore. So that's a massive effect on the market there. And for certain stock or certain property within, you've got your entry-level units, things like that. But there's obviously stock that's going to be affected more so than others with that change.
Very much.
Other big change as well in regards to the negative gearing is
capital gains.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Capital gains. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Capital gains as well. That what I thought we'll touch on is give you an example, negative gearing
Oh,
first, and we'll jump on to capital gains. But guys, let's just simple terms. $1 million unit, $800 rental income per year. Essentially, at the moment, as an average, you'd be seeing an investor out of pocket about $500 after they're making that taxable claim. That probably comes down to around about $300.
Okay.
We get rid of negative gearing.
Yeah.
That $200 saving goes too. So essentially, property owners are up for an extra, based on $1 million, 20% deposit. They're up for an extra $200 a week out of pocket here, which is $10,000 a year. Which is big, $10,000 a year out of anyone's pocket, I'm sure, with prices and things the way they are.
Going up,
You can take anything you can get. So give you an idea, simple maths, about $1 million, $200 out of the pocket of investors, and when your rent's $800 a week, guys,
it has to come from somewhere.
You're talking about 25% a week.
Increase.
In an increase in change, which is massive, and that obviously relates back to that change in serviceability at that 10-20%. So massive changes on buy demand, massive changes on what landlords choose to do, how long they choose to hold their asset. It's going to be big news tomorrow.
It's going to be big. I think everyone will be on the edge of their chair thinking what is going to happen, because it affects everything moving forward. With all the prices going up, as Josh mentioned, with fuels, groceries, and all the building materials going up, and if the rent goes up, which is a livelihood, that will affect me.
Definitely. And I think something that the government's severely miscalculating here is the effect on rents. Guys, if you didn't know, they actually did abolish negative gearing back in 1985.
Oh, yes.
That lasted 2 years because rents absolutely skyrocketed.
Yep.
And so they squashed that within 2 years. And we see this with business guys when they bring in a new tax levy. Generally, what has it done? It's always passed on to the consumer.
Yeah.
And I think we'll see the same thing here, with no incentive for landlords to carry the rents as is and further coming out of their pocket. I think we're going to see some extra pressure on the rental side of things. And really, this is affecting people that need the money in their pocket most.
Exactly.
Being the rental market. So not sure, whether this is an idea to sort of limit activity spending and try and tackle inflation. Don't know if this is something that's going to work a long time. Will we see a repeat of history where it lasts 2 years and we're straight back into normality? But massive change on the negative gearing side of things. Bids, you brought up capital gains and discounts. Do you want to elaborate what their proposed changes are here?
Definitely. I think we have been getting capital gains discount of 50%.
Correct.
So keeping it nice, short and simple, they are looking to change that to 35.
33.
33. There we go.
33, possibly 25.
There we go. So less and less money in your pocket at the end of the day. So basically they're saying you can't keep this property anymore because negative gearing is gone. And when you go to sell it, they'll hit you again with less capital gains.
That's right. And then, guys, if you want to, for easy numbers, how you calculate this, you bought a property for $1 million, you sold it for $2 million. Your capital gain there is $1 million. If you're holding it for longer than 12 months, you will only pay tax on $500,000, 50% of that portion. That now is going to change to 330 that you're paying that tax, or 33%. So it's actually going to be, it would be 83.
No, it'll be the other way around.
Yeah. Other way around. So you'll actually be paying your tax on 67%. There you go. Just minus the 33 from 100. 7:30, guys. It's been a long day.
It's been long,
But when you're talking about the scale of property, and where we see house prices, unit prices at the moment, it's no small pocket change out of your hand when it comes to this change in discount for capital gains. So massive changes. And you've got to think that this is going to change the behaviors of the current environment. what is the land, again, back to what is the landlord going to do?
Exactly.
Do they not want to realize those gains and pay the tax and rather pull equity out of the property to fund further purchases, renovations, etc.?
Because there will be ongoing costs.
Exactly. So, is there going to be less supply?
Mhm.
Is there going to be more supply because people can't continue to hold the asset due to negative gearing? A lot of questions, and there's a lot of ways that this could go. So it's very important to be, invested in what's going to come around the door tomorrow. I think another important point, guys, is there is talks of grandfathering these policies.
Yep.
And now for anyone that doesn't know what that is that essentially what they're saying is properties purchased or with a contract date prior to these changes. Now they could say tomorrow from 12 p.m. tomorrow. They could say 30th of June, but essentially they'll give a date that all these changes will come into effect. If you've owned a property previously or bought it before and still own it, essentially what they're saying at the moment is you'll still exist under the current policies or infrastructure that is provided. But however, any new purchases will fall under this new legislation in terms of no negative gearing and a smaller discount on your capital gain over 12 months. So another thing I'm thinking to myself is there going to be a rush for investors to pick up stock before this change is made?
That's what I was about to get into. Let's say if they put a deadline at 1st of June, everyone will want to buy properties before 1st of June and exchange it.
Exactly right. Yeah, it'll be big because I'm hearing it is contract date, not settlement date. So, will there be a frenzy for affordable investments before this comes into effect? Because if I've got the ability to purchase a property before these changes come in, I tell you what, I am looking deeply into it. Even myself, thinking of any landlords out there that would take longer settlements, it'd be great to secure an additional property while these benefits are still around. Because in terms of scaling, if you're trying to build a portfolio, which is what obviously I wish to do, with these changes, that becomes a hell of a lot harder. A hell of a lot harder. And it really is going to throw a spanner in the works as to what really happens here, guys. And you go around in circles because you're blown away about how this has come about.
Very much.
But yeah, I think it could cause a frenzy for that 1-2 better stock in tightly held areas. Obviously, I really think small blocks, if that becomes a frenzy, small blocks affordable up to $1 million will be in really big demand. And the reason I say that is obviously now the whole game plan has changed. You've got to pick an asset that you're probably going to be invested in. If you want to be a smart investor, you're going to pick an asset to invest in now that you have the plan of holding for that 7, 10, 15-year period, because you're leaving a lot of money on the table there with those losses that you've incurred over the first years of ownership. And you'd be silly not to take advantage of these benefits and holding into the future until they are positively geared. So, are we going to see supply tighten up even further, which isn't going to help property prices, isn't going to help renters? So the only thing my economic brain can think of that this is targeted to is trying to cool off the economy, trying to cool off spending, trying to, not incentivize investors to spend at the moment, because that's the only thing that makes sense.
Exactly. Like, it's, again, going to a controversial talk now. And I heard someone say the way of them controlling inflation to stop people from spending money is give them less money.
Exactly. Well, that's monetary policy, guys. That's why we increase interest rates and decrease them. You increase them to slow down the economy. You decrease it to speed it up and get spending going. So, it's going to be big. I'm going to be tuning in, and everyone really should, because this is a massive factor. Generally, a change of government is probably the only thing that's going to change this policy. So that's when you'll be waiting for this potentially to change back again. And I really think if you're sitting on some funds and you can afford to purchase, it's in your best interest to purchase now, guys, because as I said, property becomes more of an asset where you long hold, you draw out equity that's still deductible at the end of every year. So these become your little mechanisms, or your little factories of producing further equity for you to purchase. And if they take that away, it's, like I said, going to be a hell of a lot harder.
Right.
Serviceability wise, 10 to 20% is massive. Someone that's got the budget for a $1.5 million unit, all of a sudden they've got 1.35 to spend. And that's a massive correction in the market. I think also as well, what this will do is, I think your primary residence is going to become one of your most significant investments now.
Yeah.
So I really think those investors that traditionally would buy something less grand so that they can pick up, 3-4 investments and have them tenanted, that's not the model to be running anymore. The model to be running is investing in your owner-occupier, because that's the only thing that's tax-free. So I think really tightly held pockets throughout Sydney, your Watsons Bays, your Manleys. I think that stock is going to do really well, because I know if I've got the change in the pocket, that's where you've got to invest your money, because unfortunately taxes and costs just eat too much into your profits these days. And if you're a smart investor, you take the game you're given, or the lay of the land, and smart investors navigate a way to make it work for themselves. And for me, that's the only thing that I can see as an investment, as a smart choice these days. So I think we're going to see a change on really tightly held pockets, really sought after areas. I think they will do really well in this climate. Unfortunately, we might see a little bit of a cool off in the growth that we've seen across those entry level units. Big changes.
Yeah. So pretty much to summarize all that, I think we can keep going on for this for a while. From what I gather from what we have shared is, if investors pull out from the market, maybe for first-time buyers, there are better opportunities.
Yep.
Right. And if they actually go ahead with the rule saying only on brand new properties you can do negative gearing, maybe we might see more interest in people buying off the plans. I think they will just go higher, and there'll be more demand for developers to buy lands and pay extra money for those to develop more apartments.
I know, guys. I know I've been going on a bit for this one, but just to unlock that for you, what they're talking about is, not sure if you've seen on the news recently, Meriton has bought a site in Sydney in 6 years, and that's because of certificate, lodgement turnaround, cost of site, cost of construction. It's massive in Sydney, and one of the biggest developer in Australia is not buying sites here. That tells you something. So what they're looking to do is actually, they may allow benefits on off the plan property to incentivize investors to pay high prices for off the plan property, because otherwise you're going to miss out altogether with existing. And unfortunately, developers can't put sites together with the current rates. I mean, 2-bedroom apartments from the sites that I've been working on are, anywhere between 1.6 to 1.8 million to make a site work in the Northern Beaches. So this is apparently a little incentive that they're going to put together for developers, and hoping that investors jump on these bigger price tags if they're given the tax benefits along with it. What does that do to the market? Well, like we said, we might see softer demand from investors, but generally when you see the brand new shiny thing increase in price, the unfinished, or the older product, the 70s, 80s units, that floor also rises as well. So many ways that this can go.
It's going to go,
It's going to be an insane landscape. This is a massive change for real estate in Australia, guys. So be invested in this tomorrow, because like we said, massive changes, big implications. On the buyer front, on the landlord front, on the rental front, the renter. It affects everyone. And we thought it was really important to bring it to your attention tonight before it's going
to happen.
It goes bang bang tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, George, for all the insightful information. I know you're very aware of these things. So let's see tomorrow what happens, and stay tuned. And guys, if you need any advice on this, Vedan and myself always available. I love this stuff. I love talking about it. Love helping people with it. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.